Hey everyone, where we last left off, we were talking about basic logic in C# and how we can use if-else statements or conditional statements in order to test the value of variables and actually check whether a condition has been met or if an instance is true or not. And in this video we're going to introduce loops, more specifically while loops. After this video and the next one we'll talk about for loops, which is a little more in depth and a little more detailed, but while loops are fairly basic, so let's dive right into those for now. Just create a new project, call it what you want as usual, dealing with Windows Forms application, and you're going to need a label, a numeric up down, and a button for now. Whoops. Accidentally double-clicked on the label. Oh, and I double-clicked on that as well. My bad. Alright, so resize the numeric up-down so it's able to hold 3 numbers, 3 characters. And resize the button and change the text on the button to go, or something similar. And the label can say something like print hello x times. And just resize it so it looks nice, I suppose. Check and make sure that the maximum value on this is set to 100. We don't really need it to go over 100 in this case. Right, so also change the decimal places. Make that set to 0 because we want it to be an integer. And that should be good. That should be good. Alright. Now then, what we want to do here is whenever this go is clicked, we want it to output hello as many times as we have put in here. We want it to pop up a message box and say hello in multiple lines, as however many times we put in here in this box. So if we put 5 in here, we want it to say hello, 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 hello. So go ahead and double click on go, and we're brought into our familiar button 1 click function, and we're going to create a while loop. Now it's fairly simple. It's just like creating an if statement. It's just while and then condition, and then brackets to include whatever code you want to execute each time this is looped. So the condition can be just like any if statement. It's while and then this condition is met. So for instance, I could compare a value using equals equals or greater than or equal to and stuff like that. It uses all the same operators as the if statement. Everything works the same. It's just looping over and over again. So what we want to do is we want to take the number of times, as in the value of this numeric up down, and we want to compare it to a count that builds up consistently or continuously. So first let's create our count variable, and we'll set it to 0. And basically this count is going to increase every time this while loop is executed, every single time this loops. So we want it to do count plus plus. And that basically just adds 1 on to count each time this is looped. And then we want to, for our condition, say while count is less than numeric up down 1 dot value. So as long as count is less than numeric up down 1 value, aka this number right here, then it will add a new message on, or add another hello onto the message. So let's create our message variable. String message equals a blank string, and let's just take message and add on a hello every time this is looped. And the easiest way to do that is do plus equals hello. And basically, this plus equals is as if you were taking the original message variable and adding on this string right here. So it would be the equivalent of saying is equal to message plus hello /n. It's just much easier to type out. So I would definitely recommend that. And so basically, each time this is looped, it adds a hello on, and it adds it to the count. So it starts out as 0, and the first time it loops, it turns into 1, and we have 1 hello. It loops back around again, and then the second, and then it adds on another one, so it becomes 2, and then adds another hello. And it keeps doing that until its value is equal to the numerical up, down, 1 value. So until it has reached the amount of times. So for instance, if we were to put in a 3 into this, until this count gets to 3, it's going to continue looping around and adding another hello on. And once it's finished its loop, we want to output this message in a message box. So let's just output message. And now we can test it to see if it's doing what we want it to do. If we put in a 5, it should output, not 54, it should output 5 hellos. Hello, 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 hello. And as you can see, it works fine. If you put on a 0, it should put none. 2, it should put out 2, and you get the idea. So as we can see, it is working. It is looping through each time, adding a new hello onto the message. And you can do this with anything really. You can just compare values. And one thing I would be careful with is if you have a loop that continues going forever, like for instance, if count never increases, it's going to continue going because count is always going to be 0, and it's always going to be less than the value you input, unless you input 0 to begin with. And if it continues looping forever, it's going to crash. The program is going to crash. So you definitely do not want that. Right. So how can we make this more dynamic? Well, what we can do is we can input a message box, or not a message box, text box, my bad. And this text box can, instead of just printing hello, we can print the text box. Just leave it like that. And basically, the way we can do this very easily, very simple, is we just replace hello with the text box value. Or in this case, text box does not have a value property, so it's actually textbox1.text. That is our value property. In this case, numeric up down 1 has a value, textbox1 has text. So keep that in mind. If we go ahead and run it and we print it out now, there's going to be nothing. If we print it out 5 times, it's just going to be 5, blank lines because we haven't inputted anything. If we put in Scott, for instance, it's going to print it out 5 times. So very easy, very very simple. Just a classic loop. This while loop will come in handy in pretty much any coding language. We're doing it specifically for C#, but it's prevalent in, I'd say, 99% of the programming languages out there. So I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and stay tuned for more. Signing off.